Now, I want to talk about these circumstances that are like nothing horrible is happening, but nothing great is happening either. I don't claim to know what it's like to be a woman who's married in a difficult circumstance. I try to be psychologically empathetic with it and try to really feel what it's like to be in your shoes, especially what it feels like to be in your shoes day after day after day after day. And that really can wear on one's psychology. One of the reasons that it's really important that you come to a conclusion as you talk with God, whether He says, choose for yourself and I'll back you up, or He says, here's the direction I give you, it's really hard to make the best of your situation if you feel like it should be better. You are all blessed and cursed with celestial orientation. If you haven't heard that term, it's a description of a natural, powerful craving to celestialize everything. I have to be careful the way I say that as a man because most men can say that with sarcasm and cruelty behind it, but I actually have a deep reverence for it. The problem is that this power is likened to salmon, geese, ducks, and whales, and how they have this instinct and drive to take us there and get there. I need to get there. I want to get there. I want to get to the celestial world. And when you hear the phrase, we should be moving faster, we should be working our way towards that, we should be, at no point am I going to tell you that that's not true. That is true. In a celestial progressing marriage, we should be working as a team to get there. But if your current weather conditions are not lending themselves to that, and you have taken the responsibility to choose to stay in Nebraska, then for now, for this week, for this month, for this year, then it is your responsibility to make the best of it. That's your responsibility if you're choosing to stay. I don't love saying that, but it is scientifically and spiritually accurate. If you're stuck on the plains of Nebraska and you have chosen to stay there and you feel or you feel instructed by God to stay there, then it's time to smile with cornhusk dolls and stir your shoe leather stew soup. But you're not doing anyone any favors if you send messages through resentment and negative emotion, telepathically, like he's gonna get it. And all of a sudden he's gonna be inspired to improve himself because you're radiating negativity and disappointment and frustration and irritation, and you're trying to figure out why he's not getting the message. I'm not passive aggressive. I just send messages without talking. If you're going to live in Nebraska, have fun there. You can live in a storm shelter and still be grateful and make the best of it. Now, what if you're afraid he's going to think it's okay to not improve if you're happy? He's not getting any messages from you when you're unhappy. What makes you think he's going to get messages from you if you're happy? So for whatever reason that he's clueless and doesn't pay attention to your existence whatsoever at this time, okay, there's no point of you being miserable while he's not paying attention. Please check in. This is why it's so important that you have your own relationship with God and that your husband is not your God, even on accident. I change my behavior based on my husband. How about we don't do that? How about every 24 hours you look in the mirror and you knuckle bump the girl in the mirror and you say, you're a rockin' star, man. You're the best I've ever met. You are so cool. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I hope every girl on the planet grows up to be like you under difficult circumstances. Please, if you haven't figured out what environment is best for you to support your evolution, please meet with Marquelle. I'll have her drop her consultation link in again. She knows her stuff. She knows what she's doing. Meet with her, discuss it with her. You're welcome to meet with me also. We'll put my consultation link as well, and we can talk about your circumstances.
If you're finding this video helpful or want to help us reach others in need, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because it really supports our channel. Thank you.
I'm confused how I can maintain safety with boundaries and honor my own feelings, feeling hurt and feel that I have to defend my ideas and needs, and be my best self and act with dignity. How do I acknowledge his reality and honor that it is a warped version of my reality, subtle, gaslighting, manipulating, taking? Is it possible? In the Worth book, so that we've just put out at the beginning of the year, and I'll drop another link for it, there's a concept called the greenhouse, and if the person you're living with, whatever their label is more destructive to your greenhouse than they are contributing, that's an important conversation to have with God. And if he doesn't answer you, the logical thing would be to not spend time with the bull in the china closet. And the term I use is withdraw to a safe distance. Now, a safe distance for some is just don't share a bedroom. For others, it's don't share the same level of the house. For others, it's don't share the same house. It's one thing to cohabitate with a piece of furniture who is not getting better or worse and is just being, okay, and they're predictable. They take out the garbage. They sometimes wash the dishes. And they aren't making life worse for you all the time. But if someone is afflicting your greenhouse and is pulling down your ability to be neutral, let alone improve, then it is time to withdraw. You don't have to decide to divorce someone while you're finding how far away from them you need to be. It could be just a certain amount of time. It could be a certain amount of distance physically. You got to get creative. Okay, this is another mistake that women make is, I can't figure out how to get to a safe distance. Well, if you've been stuck in a place, well, that could be true, but we assume you're smart if you give yourself permission to be more creative, but that's going to disrupt the whole system. Yes, it is going to disrupt the whole system. That's kind of the point. It's not to teach him a lesson. Check yourselves, lady. If any part of your brain is, how do I teach him a lesson, you're barking up the wrong tree. But to pack your wagon psychologically for whatever your circumstances are. And so if the person is not participating in a greenhouse environment for you, I would not try at all. If the pattern of behavior they have is that they don't validate your feelings and you have to defend your ideas and your needs, then you're talking to the wrong person. If a person isn't a farmer by mentality and they're going, I would like to be attentive to your feelings and your needs, then they're not even trying to be a farmer. In my vocabulary, that means they're not even trying to be a husband. And to clarify for some of you who are relatively new, just because a man has a ring on his finger and you have a ring on your finger and there's a ceremony and there's a piece of paper on the wall, does not classify a man as a husband. In my vocabulary, he's not a husband until he's trying to preside, provide, and protect. And he's making incremental growth in those three areas. He's trying to preside, be a healthy leader for the family, he's trying to provide, and he's trying to protect, and he's trying to get better at those three things. And if he needs to learn how to communicate that through the DPAR process, then that he can be taught that. So just withdraw, and then you observe where you are. I'm in Canada, he's in Mexico. That's information. I don't take his phone calls, I don't see his text messages because they're usually loaded with hand grenades. That doesn't help me to open up hand grenades in my mailbox. Why would you open up your mailbox if there's hand grenades in it? Well, you're just hypersensitive. I was designed to be hypersensitive. I'm like a radar thing and it doesn't take much for it to get rattled, and you're telling me I shouldn't be hypersensitive when God designed me to be hypersensitive? What did you want? You want me to be a lumberjack or something? Okay, I'm a girl. I want to be hypersensitive. I want to be sensitive, and I like to be hypersensitive because I'm really good at it. Okay, Marquelle, any final thoughts?
If your husband is stepping in to preside, provide, protect, we need to celebrate that as well. I think that's important. The more we can look for that, the more it's going to help us be like, oh, okay, he is doing those things. We get so into anxiety embracing that I think sometimes we miss that opportunity. And the other thing with having the different bedroom or different floors of the house or separation, it is hard and overwhelming. That's because those boundaries aren't what we want. We want that connection. And yet when we can instill a boundary that's creating safety, where we can work on our own healing and growth, it really does make a big difference, and it is worth it. And hopefully our spouse will also be working on their own healing and recovery, so that then we can come back in that bridge that Maurice talks about in marriage repair. We can start doing those things to help bring that bridge together. And it does take time, it takes patience, and with the weather too, as we know, when many unite with prayer, sometimes those storms can change. So stay anchored to the Lord and expect those miracles.
Ladies, it's a pleasure serving you. Our commitment to you is we'll keep trying to get better at our job, and I'll get really good at taking screwdrivers to man brains. It's really fun. It's a psychological, it's one of my favorite parts of my job. Okay, see you next time.